Welcome to EyE on You. Following the legislation of the national security law in Hong Kong last year to plug the loopholes which endangered national security, the National People's Congress once again takes lead at constitutional level to improve the electoral system of Hong Kong. In order to uphold the one country, two system, it is necessary to ensure the principle of patriots administering Hong Kong. It is conducive to safeguarding the sovereignty, national security, as well as the long-term prosperity of Hong Kong.
Yes, I remember that throughout the sixth-term LegCo, radical forces exploited the electoral system to worm their way into the political structure. They have attempted to make use of the status as public officers to shamelessly obstruct and paralyze the operation of the government. In particular, the oath-taking controversy, the inordinate delay of the election of the House Committee Chairman, obstructing the order in various meetings in LegCo, and the filibusters of bills in council meetings. These chaos have exposed the loopholes and deficiencies of Hong Kong's electoral systems against the principle of patriots administering Hong Kong, make it difficult to ensure the faithful implementation of one country, two systems, and seriously impair Hong Kong's prosperity and stability.
According to the NPC Standing Committee decision last year, LegCo members shall be disqualified for office once they are determined by law to have failed to meet legal requirements of upholding the Hong Kong Basic Law and honoring the Pledge of Allegiance to Hong Kong. Following the removal of 4 LegCo members who did not fulfill legal requirements, 15 other LegCo members resigned en masse. The chaos in this term of the LegCo came to a close and peace was restored to the Council.
You may want to know that after the improvement of the electoral system in Hong Kong, can the opposition parties still run for the elections, and whether the LegCo still be able to accommodate the voices of the opposition parties? Today, we have our honor to invite Mr. Andrew Leung Kwan-yuen, the president of the LegCo, to share with us his experience as president of the 6th LegCo and to share his views of the latest political environment, future development on LegCo, and for the Hong Kong as a whole. Hello, Andrew. Welcome to our show today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes. As you know that there's a lot happened in this term of LegCo. To name a few, there is oath-taking controversy, the inordinate delay of the election of the House Committee Chairman, and the disqualification of the pan-democratic members, and also the filibuster of the bills in the LegCo council meetings. So what was the most memorable experience as the president of the LegCo this term?
As you mentioned, I think the 6th term been extremely eventful and unprecedented. Now, obviously, the memorable controversy would be the FOO, the Fugitive Offenders Ordinance. I think members have been trying, they have tried to use every single means to stop members to scrutinize the bill, even resort to not letting the Bills Committee electing the chairman. And I think later on that escalated to demonstrations and stopping the bill for its second reading, and escalating to the 1st of July, where demonstrators intrude and force enter into the chamber of LegCo and vandalizing the chamber and destroy quite a bit of equipments and conferencing facilities in LegCo. I'm sure that you, like other members, were saddened by all this happen in LegCo. LegCo should be a solemn place. Is one of the highest body in Hong Kong to make legislation, and also for members to discharge the duty and watch out, and work with government on that. I think hopefully at that time, government departments and also the secretariat work extremely hard, and within a few months restore most of the vandalized equipment, and also let the chamber be open in the next session. So that's extremely memorable, and the good thing is now that is all in the past, and the members can now focus on normal LegCo businesses.
Right.
So after all the challenges, how do you describe the latest political environment in the LegCo and in Hong Kong as a whole?
I think after the national security law being passed, you can see that over the past year, everything's resumed to the normality, and that those who been using extreme methods to stop LegCo functioning either threat Hong Kong, or some of them are even imprisoned, and some even in custody. Now, what happened after the national security law, and then the National People's Congress also disqualified 4 members in November. And I think after that, the pan-democratic members resigned en masse. So that left only 43 members. Obviously, it's regrettable as chairman of president of LegCo that we do not have a full house for our legislative work. But then, with things now, the pendulum, as I always describe, always swing back and forth. From the extreme side, it now getting in the middle of the road. I think of the 43 members, we all work very hard in the LegCo businesses, and efficiency are now resuming. To say a few that, like the bills, we should be hopefully finish scrutinizing about 46 bills by the end of October. Usually in a year, we will finish scrutinizing about 23 bills. So that means we double what we did previous years. And so far we have the Finance Committee been scrutinizing about $200 billion of public works and government spending. So things looks like it take a little quicker to scrutinize, but I think the efficiency doesn't mean that members are not doing the job or just rubber stamping everything. You can see that in Finance Committee, in LegCo itself, in Bills Committee, in panels, we always have heated debates. And members will point out what government should do, what government should learn from the previous what happened in a few years, and especially now we have COVID-19, and I think members are quite eager to get on top of the COVID-19, get back to normality, get our borders open. Yeah. So things resume normal, but our members are working pragmatically, working with government to make sure that the livelihood issues, the economic issues can get through for the benefit of Hong Kong people.
Yes.
With a more stable political environment, and we have the latest amendments of the rule of procedures in LegCo, do you think that the operation in LegCo is more efficient in this sense?
I think from the experiences in the past few years, you can see that some members just disregard the rules of procedures. They will find loopholes in it. Legislative council or parliaments elsewhere is for, rules for gentlemen. You have to abide by those rules. But unfortunately, those rules of procedure never foresaw members can act without any bottom line. So we have, a few change in rules of procedures. First of all, we'll just make sure that the time can be used efficiently. So we'll limit times in each debate, and also we limit for the length of the speeches, so that the whole procedure can be run smoother. We also work out that we will those members who grossly having grossly disordered behavior will be sanctioned, even with penalties in that. So that's the first change. And also, like preventing the House Committee Chairman's election or the Bills Committee election, now that we'll change it so that the previous chairman will still have power, and we said categorically they have power to do whatever needed until a new chairman be elected. And also, the second change will limit the membership of panels or committees, so that it can run a lot more efficiently, and also members can focus on what they are interested and work together as groups rather than as individuals. So hopefully, with all the changes, the next LegCo session, the 7th LegCo, will run a lot smoother and can spend more time working with government together for the benefit of Hong Kong people.
Yes, this is all we look forward to. So in view of the political challenges in Hong Kong, the NPC passed the decision on improving the electoral system in Hong Kong. Do you think that the decision will ensure the successful and robust implementation of the one country, two system in Hong Kong?
Now, if you look at it, the past few years, we can see, what some people, some members can do and can damage the legislative process and also to the whole of Hong Kong. By passing that the improvement of the electoral system, the good thing is that only patriots who support one country, two system, who support China run by the Communist country party, that is the core that we need to run Hong Kong. We cannot run Hong Kong with members who always want foreign powers to intervene, to sanction our government, etc., etc. So I think by doing that, it ensures that our members will focus on the livelihood issues, on the economic issues, and hopefully with Hong Kong people at their hearts. So I'm sure that passing that law will help Hong Kong, will help LegCo, and also will help the LegCo and government's relationship, so that we can again work together for the benefit of Hong Kong people.
Yes. So after the improvement of the electoral system in Hong Kong, do you think that the LegCo can still accommodate the voice of the opposition parties, and should they run for the coming LegCo sessions?
Very simple. I think for the past 4 or 5 years, you can see the opposition as such been dominated by the radicals who want, Hong Kong independence and things like that. With them out of the way, now the middle of the road of pan-democrat can come back. So I think, as long as they can, pass the committee on the eligibility of candidates, I can see no reason why they cannot run. Really, the radical remove, we still have different voices. Hong Kong political spectrum is very wide, and I'm sure that personally I welcome different sector, different from the spectrum to speak out. Hong Kong is a multi-dimension society. We have every sector, we have some differences of voices, but how we can meld everything together in LegCo and improve again the livelihood and the economic side of Hong Kong. I think I'm sure, and I welcome different, spectrum of different, side to come out and join the LegCo next year.
Yes, that would be great. So are you confident that the legislative-executive relationship will be improved? And do you think the LegCo will be able to operate smoothly in the coming term?
Now, if you can see that the first day our new Chief Secretary come in, he wrote a letter to the House Committee Chairman, Starry Lee, saying that he is willing and will work, to maintain the relationship between executive and the legislative branch. And I think even, for the whole past 4 or 5 years, or even longer, the executive and the legislative relationship been quite good. It's only the pandemic happened this term who tried to, disrupt that good relationship. And I'm sure that Eunice know that so far our relationship as the pro-government camp with government's been, reasonably good. So I think with the new law passing, that patriots will now be in CE and also in the legislative council. I'm sure that both sides will see the Hong Kong people and will put Hong Kong people to number one. Mm-hmm. So with everybody have Hong Kong citizens at heart, I'm sure that the legislative and executive relationship will be best ever.
Yes. So with the idea of patriots administering Hong Kong and also the improved electoral system in Hong Kong, how does this affect the work in LegCo in the coming term?
I think in the coming term, obviously we have 90 members. They come in 3 sectors. Obviously the functional side will be reduced slightly, but then we have similar function as what we are now. And then we have the geographic side. But I think the interesting thing is the 40 members from the Electoral College. The good thing is that then from there, we can have, people from the professional side. We have people even from the very normal citizen. We can have other who might in the past thought that the LegCo is a very hot kitchen. They like to do something, but think why should I bother to go in to have sling mud at each other. Now that they can see, they can have a chance to put their thoughts their ideas into LegCo. And I'm sure that, with that combination, and I can see that, when we work together, we can ensure one country, two system to carry on in a prosperous manner.
Okay, so after all the boring questions, here comes a very difficult question. Are you going to run for the next term of the LegCo, and are you going to run for presidency for the next term of the LegCo?
Now, my answer is, as always, that I'm very pragmatic. We still have about, under 20 bills to pass, and I think we have a very heavy load until October. So I think, let's finish one thing at a time, and at the right time, then I will sit down and work out with the Federation of Hong Kong Industries and also my family to see, to chart for the future.
Okay.
As a very experienced LegCo members, what advice will you give to the new LegCo members in the 7th term?
I think the new members for the 7th term, first of all, they really need to dedicate, their mind, their time into LegCo. It's no longer, that you can just come in for an hour or so, every week. So I think, and you really have to prepare and work together with different groups of members in LegCo and also with government. And again, you need to have a heart to work out for the future of Hong Kong, be it in the political side, in the economic side, and also in the livelihood side. And I'm sure that we have so many things that we have to work to solve the Hong Kong problems. And I think with the willpower, we will succeed. So those who thought that LegCo is a hot kitchen, it's no longer that hot, and is a very good place for them to contribute and pay back to Hong Kong.
Right. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank
you so much.